Hey folks, today is November 26, 2024, and I have an important update regarding escalating events in Eastern Europe. This report will cover alarming developments in Eastern Europe, significant military actions in Ukraine, NATO's increasingly assertive stance, preparations for large-scale conflict across Europe, mounting instability in the Middle East, rising concerns in Asia, and provocative discussions regarding nuclear weapons in the Ukraine conflict. Below is a breakdown of the most pressing updates. First, breaking news reveals an alarming pattern of activity involving two U.S WC-135 Constant Phoenix planes, commonly referred to as nuke sniffers, currently airborne over the central plains of the United States. These aircraft, designed to sample the atmosphere for radiation, are rarely seen in operation simultaneously, especially late at night. Accompanying them is a nuclear war command and control plane, an unusual and concerning deployment. Now, I can see this being continued training in preparation for an event, which I'm convinced is coming. But one thing is for certain, this heightened activity raises speculation that Russian President Vladimir Putin may be preparing to launch another intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, echoing past incidents when these specialized planes were deployed in response to similar threats. Next, on the ground in Ukraine, the conflict has reached a new level of intensity. Ukrainian forces have confirmed the use of U.S.-supplied Army tactical missile systems in a series of significant strikes deep into Russian territory. On Saturday, November 23rd, Ukraine successfully destroyed an S-400 air defense system near Belozerka, taking out one radar, two launchers, and killing 5 Russian military officers. The following evening, additional strikes targeted critical facilities in Bryansk, Kursk, and Kemerovo regions. Video evidence reveals the use of cluster munitions in an attack on a major Russian airbase, likely intended to damage aircraft stationed there. The airbase, located far within Russian borders, underscores the boldness and growing range of Ukraine's missile strikes. Meanwhile, President Putin's response has been equally ominous. Following an emergency meeting with his Security Council on Saturday, he retreated to the Ural Mountains, a move that analysts suggest could signal preparations for a significant escalation. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev issued a stark warning, declaring that NATO countries have crossed a line by directly aiding Ukraine with weapons and targeting support, effectively making them combatants in the conflict. Medvedev emphasized that no outcome can be ruled out, leaving open the possibility of unprecedented retaliatory measures from Russia. NATO, in turn, is adopting a more aggressive stance. General Rob Bauer, one of NATO's top officials, has openly called for preemptive strikes on Russian missile launchers, arguing that waiting for an attack could prove catastrophic. General Bauer also urged business leaders across Europe and the United States to prepare for wartime conditions, emphasizing the need to shift production and supply chains away from reliance on adversarial nations like China and Russia. According to Bauer, while militaries win battles, it is economies that win wars, underscoring the critical role of industrial preparedness in the face of rising global tensions. Throughout Europe, nations are bracing for potential large-scale conflict. Germany is repurposing metro stations as air raid shelters, while Poland is constructing the largest defensive line in Europe since World War II and issuing survival manuals to its citizens. Sweden, Finland, Lithuania, and other countries in Northern Europe have already distributed millions of World War III survival guides, including digital versions for easy access. Lithuania has also demolished key bridges to prevent incursions from Russia, signaling just how seriously these countries are taking the possibility of a broader conflict. The situation is not confined to Europe alone. In the Middle East, Iran has moved ballistic missile launchers, potentially preparing strikes against Israel amid escalating tensions. Iran's nuclear ambitions are also advancing rapidly, with centrifuges spinning at full capacity. Analysts fear that Iran could soon declare itself a nuclear-armed state, further destabilizing the region. Concurrently, Japan and the United States are developing a joint military strategy for the Taiwan Strait, including the deployment of HIMARS rocket systems and other advanced weaponry on Japanese and Philippine territories to counter potential Chinese aggression. Adding another layer of complexity, reports have emerged that U.S. and European officials recently discussed the possibility of arming Ukraine with nuclear weapons, a move that would mark a dramatic and highly provocative shift in the conflict. The White House confirmed that Ukraine has already used U.S.-supplied weapons to strike targets in Russia, while Russia has accused NATO of directing these attacks, further blurring the lines between indirect support and active engagement. These developments come as Ukraine seeks to maximize its use of Western-supplied weapons before the potential policy shifts under a new U.S. administration. Ukrainian leaders recognize the uncertainty surrounding President-elect Donald Trump's stance on their deep strikes into Russian territory. Given his past support for robust military actions in Poland, but unpredictable rhetoric regarding NATO. This urgency is driving Ukraine to capitalize on its current momentum, intensifying its attacks on Russian infrastructure and military assets. As these events unfold, the global balance of power appears increasingly fragile. The rhetoric from all sides has escalated to dangerous levels, with NATO's General Bauer emphasizing that the time to prepare is now, not just for governments, but for businesses and citizens alike. Whether through strategic missile deployments in Asia, intensified sanctions, or new defense initiatives in Europe, the world is inching closer to a conflict that could redefine modern warfare. Stay informed and vigilant as this situation evolves. The coming days and weeks may bring further escalation, and preparedness is key. I'll continue to provide updates as new developments emerge. Until then, stay safe, stay prepared, and remember to watch and pray.